Okay, good afternoon. This is day 116 of making little videos to describe a day of thought in the life of schizophrenic Dominic. I expressed some amount of sanity amidst the world going crazy on me and telling everybody that I was crazy after they warred upon me and inflicted schizophrenia. I believe I experienced schizophrenia, but I do not believe I am diseased or crazy. I believe it is a reality to be experienced. On day 17 of these videos, I describe why I call myself a schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. On day 45, I have a 3-minute intro to describe why I make these videos. This is a 1-minute intro that I describe that I've written a book titled Unveiling the Schizophrenic Tradition. In it, it has some amount of thought processes and experiences that I have with the schizophrenic programming and thought process that could have got me targeted, as well as my experience amidst the targeted individual program and things of that nature, and my own analysis as a research subject, as well as some research done on voice hearing technology in the public domain and stalking in the public. Okay, so I was going to start today. Yesterday, I talked about the fact that Harry Potter was possibly, or what I think is that is a mashup of my family, and all my siblings were Harry Potter. I was Harry Potter in the movies, and it was a mashup of my family and uncles and all that stuff. And I talked about how Hollywood is like a big, giant, like the whole Hollywood history has little nuggets in there about this program, Monarch program, including my program, and me at the middle as a schizophrenic. And it goes into potential time travel or things of that nature because of, Harry Potter has time travel elements in it. Anyways, so today it came out that Taylor Swift got full control of her music, and I'm supposed to be Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is supposed to be a love interest of mine, and I'm supposed to be Travis Kelce. I'm supposed to be Harry Styles. Travis Kelce is supposed to be my arch nemesis or some random, or like the idea of like a random really good football player, as I was like a bench warmer and stuff like that. So, or at the same time, I'm supposed to beat Travis Kelce. It's all kind of like a weird schizophrenic thing. Anyways, this goes on with Donald Trump, and it goes on with numerous people in the public eye, and you don't know if they're being brain controlled or. It's like I say in my book, perhaps there's groups surveilling other groups, and there's different agencies in the in NSA and stuff like that. And anyways, today I said that was a mashup yesterday, and today the mash lady at the same time Taylor Swift was saying she got control of her music, was saying that the mash star Loretta Swift died today at 87, and you don't know if she faked her death, if they were brain controlling me to say all these things at this exact time because they knew that was happening. And so that was a synchronicity that occurred with yesterday. So I hope that the lady has gone into like underground if she's in the Bahamas or something. I hope it's not euthanasia or something like that. So you never know with these things, and so I'll share that today to describe that out there. And yeah, so uh, like I say, Swift. I said in an earlier video a long time ago, sometime in the very early ones, that I wrote a blog post called "War Subverts Reality," in which I was using a artistic expression to describe cannibalism and stuff like that, and I think I may have even used Jonathan Swift in there when I was talking about that, and so Taylor Swift was a kind of a response to that artistry, kind of to some degree, and so uh, yeah. So when I called the war, I said war keeps order for a cannibal system and stuff like that. So today was a mashup with the MASH actress Loretta Swift passing away, and I hope, like I say, that she did not pass away and that it was all just she'd gone underground. And so, yeah, that was a synchronicity that happened today in response to what I said yesterday about Harry Potter. In my other book, uh, about Olajuwon Dream book, he talked about Yami Basket. His name is a player that was took Olajuwon under his wing in Nigeria. His name was Sengo Dei. I don't know how to say the name. And this player was Olajuwon patterned his game after. So we have this player to thank for giving us Olajuwon to some degree. And in the book it said that this player was about giving back a lot, and he was a very giving person, so he wanted to give Olajuwon all the information that he could about being a good basketball player and person and stuff. And this, so it's just to get back into what I said the other day about like just Olajuwon is an incredibly individual talent, but he had somebody giving him time and effort and camaraderie and culture or whatever, or basketball culture to some degree, and the game gave to him and he took it and went with it. So it was like, that act of giving by this Yami basket helped us enjoy Olajuwon. And so that gets into like the idea of like just like everything is like there's giving involved in life, or I guess everyone knows this, but I just it reminds me of like, the giving that people give and stuff. In my Never Enough book, it is a synchronicity in here. I was talking about the loneliness of Okonkwo in Things Fall Apart book yesterday. First book I pick up today is talking about loneliness of students in school in their teenage years, and how if you don't have like a friend in your teenage years, like a close friend, or you're more likely to develop anxiety at age 25 if you don't have like a solid friendship circle at 15, then where you feel valued and you matter to people. And so I thought that was interesting. It was all about, the book was all talking about how if you don't, you look for mattering to others is very important to people. It gives you your sense of self and identity outside of family, because like family you can matter to your family, but if you don't matter to people outside your family, then it's going to be difficult for you to find a sense of self and place in the world and identity or whatever. So not that it can't be done or whatever, but it's just going to be more difficult according to studies. And this lady was talking about, she referenced one study of the University of Virginia. Study found that if you don't matter to a strong group of friends, or even a small group, or even one person, even at age 15, that you're probably going to be more likely to develop anxiety at age 25. And my experience with the schizophrenia is like, you don't know how much is a system, which is a war is experimenting on people in political maneuverings and stuff. And because if a lot of times if you don't have a friend in high school, it could be you're not a loner, you just like you don't fit into the culture, so you're more apt to be singled out for a retaliationary cultural control mechanism, because you're going to think differently, you're going to you're not following the herd kind of thing. So you're going to be more singled out for manipulation and warfare by an intelligence agency or whatever. So I was wondering if like how much of that factors into the study that University of Virginia created, and we'll probably never know because this program will probably never be come to light. But that is a type of study where, like, if we had a system that brought things into the light, you could study those incidents, like what factor was involved with intelligence warfare and counterintelligence programs and schizophrenia infliction and things of that nature upon people and stuff. And so, yeah. In my Lincoln book, it discusses 1849. In my Lincoln book, I'm learning about Lincoln today. I'm learning about Lincoln's 1849 bill he put to Congress to outlaw slavery in D.C., and it failed. But it was like kind of an incremental bill. It was more like a gradualistic bill where he didn't outlaw it all outright. There were still provisions for like slave owners to carry slaves that they had if they were from a southern state or something into the territory if it was on business trip only. And I noticed I was struck by this a little. My thought was like, this was like kind of a compromise solution that he was coming up with for southern legislators or whatever in DC. And it was and they were sowing discord, and they wanted to rebel later in this 1860 or whatever. And I thought, like, sowing discord and not going for compromise, it doesn't always work out for you in the long run. I was struck by that, like, uh, and I was thinking, I think that today with things of like, if you take a look at like George Floyd or something, uh, it it didn't really work out. Like, I obviously the cop was the one sowing the discord on George Floyd, but like the burning down cities and stuff in response, you wonder who was really behind that or whatever, because it didn't really work out for people in the long run. Because you take a look at now, we have a fascist in the White House, and he's giving Nazi salutes and everything, and it resulted in people going towards this right wing push or whatever. And so, while you could be justified in your response to some atrocity like that, and say like, if you're gonna kneel on somebody's neck, I'm gonna burn down this building. And tit for tat, there's a justification. Like, morally, you say, morally, you took the life of somebody, I took a building. And so, but there's more that goes when you create that kind of lawlessness and chaos. A lot of other things happen. Like, I saw a lady get smacked in the face with a 2x4, and people all over red states saw that too, and they got scared, and they voted out of fear for the great protector Donald Trump. And so, it's like, I times I get information back to me that says take action or something, or like you know join a protest. And I didn't protest for a long time because protests were all turning into throw bricks at cops and burn buildings, set things on fire and stuff like that. And now it's going a little bit the other way, but people are going to get, you don't know where this is headed with what Trump is doing. Is he egging on a civil war or something? And it's just like, if you sow discord and you don't compromise on issues with your fellow countrymen, it's bound to result in more disastrous situations. And in the case of the South, when they didn't compromise with the North on slavery and come to a gradual end of slavery, they ended up dying with their blood spilled out of their body. And we still haven't recovered from that as a nation. We're now going into like a fascist control. And so, and that's not going to end well for most people. So, anyways, I just think like when you sow discord and you don't compromise, and you not that you compromise on principles all the time, but like you come up with compromise solutions when you can, or just sowing discord doesn't always result in beneficial situations for the majority of people, and it's not always good. But obviously, sometimes you could go the other way. That's what my thought was on that when I was reading the Lincoln book. All right, I'm going to stop here. Thank you for listening to me today. That was my day in the life of schizophrenia today. Okay, goodbye.